Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Madrasatul Mumti'az Nahwu and Sarfu online class. And today this is class 75 of the Nahwu class of this online class. And inshallah our topic for tonight is علامات التأنيث في الأفعال, the signs of femininity in verbs. So how do we show that something is feminine in a verb of in Arabiya, that is in a fi'l. So let's quickly look at the qaida in this topic, which is so the qaida says إذا كان الفاعل مؤنثا كان الفاعل مؤنثا. So the first principle is that whenever the fa'il, the performer of an action, that is the noun, the ismu in the sentence, is feminine, then it becomes important for the fi'l to also be mu'annath. The verb should also be feminine. So, and that is a very important principle. So how do we make that verb feminine? We've already identified that the fa'il is mu'annath. Then how do we make the fi'l that works with that fa'il, how do we make it mu'annath? So we are told that علامات التأنيث في الفعل الماضي تاء ساكنة في آخره. So if it is a fi'l الماضي, which is a past tense verb, the ta, we show that that verb is feminine by adding a ta at the end. A ta having what? A ta having sukun. So let's quickly look at the amthila to demonstrate this. So if we look at these examples, we see la'ibat Fatima. Fatima what? Played. Fatima played. So we will remember our fi'l. We realize that this verb in its natural form it is actually la'iba. However, because the fa'il is Fatima, and we know that Fatima is the name of a female, the alamun mu'annath. So automatically the fi'l must also be mu'annath. So how do we make that fi'l mu'annath? We add a ta sakina to the end, and it becomes la'ibat Fatima. Fatima played. So if you look at the second verb, which is labisat Zainabu athawba. Labisat Zainabu athawba. Zainab wore the cloth. Zainab wore the clothing. So we know that the fa'il is what? Labisa. But because the fa'il is Zainab, we need to show that it is feminine. If you remember, because our first qaida says that what? إذا كان الفاعل مؤنثا كان الفعل مؤنث. When the fa'il is mu'annath, the fi'l must also be mu'annath. So how do we make the fi'l labisa become mu'annath? We add a ta'ud sakina at the end. That is how we turn a fi'l madi into feminine, into a mu'annath. So we add a ta'ud sakina, a ta having sukun to the end of that fi'l. So that is how it becomes sakina. Now, why is it very important for us to discuss this? It is because this ta'u sakina, it is only an alama to what? It is only an alama to ta'nith. That is its only function in that sentence. So the only function of that ta is to show that la'iba is masculine, and now that the person that is performing the verb is feminine, our verb has to be feminine, and that is why it becomes la'ibat. Note that this ta'nith is not a domir. Unlike when I say la'ibta, we know that ta mutaharrika, which is a ta that has haraka, is the fa'il. You played, so that ta means you. However, if we look at this ta utanis, that ta that has a sukun, it does not mean she. The she is already shown. The femininity is shown by Fatima. The person that is performing the action is Fatima. So la'ibat Fatima. You see that we did not say she played. What did we say? We said Fatima played. So the fa'il is Fatima, and the ta is not a domir. Its only function in that word is to show that this verb is a feminine verb. because we have la'iba and we know it is masculine. And now we are seeing that, okay, yeah, we've already been told in the first qaida that if a verb is, if a noun, if the fa'il is feminine, then the verb has to be feminine too. So how do we show that the verb is feminine? We add a ta sakina to the end, and la'iba becomes la'ibat. So same thing, labisa becomes what? Labisat, because Zainab, who actually wore the clothes, is actually a feminine, is alamun muannas. It is a feminine noun. It is a feminine noun. So automatically the file has to take a sign that will help us know that that fi'l is feminine, and that is the ta'u sakina at the end. And that ta'u sakina la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. So when we are doing the i'rab, we see that it does not have a place in i'rab. Why? Because it is a ta'u sakina. It is not a damir. It is just an harf that we add to the end of the fi'l, and it does not perform any other function except to distinguish between the masculine and the feminine noun, and the feminine verb, sorry, between the masculine and feminine verb. So to differentiate that la'iba is masculine and la'ibat is feminine. So that is our second qaida. And our third qaida here says that alamatu ta'nifi fil fa'il mudari. So we've talked about the alamatu ta'nif, the sign of femininity in the fi'l madi, which is a ta sakina at the end, and the sign of femininity in a present tense verb, the fi'l mudari, is a ta mutaharrika fi awwalihi. It is a ta that has haraka at the beginning of the verb. So for a fi'l madi, we add a ta that has sukun at the end. For a fi'l mudari, we add a ta that has haraka at the beginning. So if you remember our huruful mudari'a, which is the anaitu, the amza, nun, ya, and ta. So our sign of femininity when we are talking about a feminine verb, a feminine present tense verb, we use a ta as our harful mudari'a. For example, we know la'iba, when we turn it to mudari'a, it becomes yal'ab. However, when the fa'il is feminine, automatically that ya has to become a ta to show that the performer of this action is female. So it becomes tal'abu Fatima, because Fatima is playing. Tal'abu Fatima, Fatima is playing, or Fatima plays. And in order to show that Fatima is because Fatima is feminine, then automatically the verb yal'abu has to become tal'abu. Our harful mudara'a becomes a ta to show the femininity of this verb. We also have talbasu Zainabu thawba. Zainab wears the clothes. So what does that mean? It is because so Zainab is wearing the clothes, and the ta, you use ta as our harful mudara'a, which comes at the beginning of a fi'l mudari', because our fa'il is feminine. So this ta, note that it is also not a damir. It is not a damir. Our fa'il is who? Our fa'il in the first example is Fatima. Our fa'il in the second example is Zainab. So we don't need a damir here. We don't actually have a damir here. Rather, our ta is simply an alamatu ta'nith. It is only an harf that shows us that the performer of this verb is feminine. So that is a very important distinction for us to note. So a recap is that our three qawaid. Number one, إذا كان الفاعل مؤنثا كان الفعل مؤنثا. If a fa'il is mu'annath, if the performer of the verb is mu'annath, then the verb must also be mu'annath. It must also be feminine. So, and if that fi'l we are talking about, if the verb we are talking about is a fi'l madi, which is a past tense verb, then our alamatu ta'nith is a ta'u sakina fi akhirihi, is a ta that has sukun at the end of it. For example, we have la'iba, and when we want to turn it to feminine, it becomes la'ibat. we add a ta ta'anith to the end, a ta that has sukun. And what is the function of that ta ta'anith? It just shows femininity. That is its only job in the sentence, and we cannot do the i'rab of it. So if we want to do the i'rab of la'ibat, we say fi'lun madin mabniyun ala al-fathi wa ta'u sakina wa ta'u ta'nith la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. It does not have a place in i'rab. It is only showing us that it is feminine. So similarly, if we have a fi'l mudari', our sign of femininity is a ta'u mutaharrika, a ta that has haraka. That is our harful mudari'ah. Instead of having a ya or an amza or a nun, what we have is a ta to show femininity, and it is a ta mutaharrika fi awwalihi. It is a ta that has haraka at its beginning. So and so for example, we have yala'abu and we have tal'abu, which is علامات التأنيث في المضارع, which is our تاء المتحركة. However, we should also know that that تاء المتحركة, it is not a domir, it is an harf, just like the name suggests. It is an harf المضارع, so it is not a domir and it is not defined. It is only showing us femininity. So that brings us to the end of this lesson. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.